Okay, so a common issue I run into with a lot of my clients is what we call like preemptive cues or unwanted cues. Cues, also the word we use for command, the thing you say to the animal or do, whether it's a gesture or word that gets them to do a behavior, that's the cue. And on occasion, we have animals doing things a little either too early or too late, because what they're doing is they're looking at the wrong cue. This has happened quite a bit, particularly when teaching stay. When we teach stay, they tend to be bored and they're looking for that release command. For me, I generally say free, and the dog can go do what they want. But the problem is, if we're too consistent, and we do things over and over again, we might start catching the animal releasing just right before we say it. And when they do it consistently before we say it, then we can start looking at ourselves and go, you know what? I'm probably doing something before I release them every time, and they're cueing off on that. A lot of times people are telling their dog to stay, and they're so afraid that the dog will move that everyone starts holding their breath. Don't move. But the thing is, if you hold your breath and you don't move, trying to make it as easy for the dog as you can, the problem is you also give them a chance to focus in on other little things. So I try to act more natural, unless the natural thing is this repeated behavior that's causing a cue. Then we just need to be very self-aware. So like if somebody's holding their breath, the first thing they tend to do is they tend to take a breath in before they say the release command, and then the dog will actually cue off of their chest expanding. Sometimes the dog just cues on something completely different. One client we had, the dog cued on a person walking forward for the command sit, instead of the hand gesture and the verbal, just because there was a pattern of motion, and that's what the dog decided to fixate on. I have a few examples of animals that are cueing off a little too early. Sometimes this happens because they really, really, really love the reward or the reinforcer that you're using. And when you start reaching for it, it sets them off because they just can't take it anymore. It's coming. The thing is coming. And then they break from what they are doing. I actually took my dogs downstairs and see if I could get some good examples of the preemptive cue. With one of them, I was able to get an almost perfect me reaching for the bag. I did it on purpose this time to see if I could get her to do the screwed up command, and then we just worked through that so that reaching for it didn't become a command. Of course, the easiest thing to do is don't reach for the treats before they actually do the behavior and before you mark. So here's the recordings, and I'll talk us through them. All right, stay. No. Xanadu. Stay. Free. Good. There we go. Hopefully I got that on camera, because that was about perfect. A preemptive cue that I didn't want. Hi. Stay. Okay, so in this next portion, I am showing Xanadu that the "f" sound, or free, because the release command I have is free, and what I'm doing is I'm making "f" sounds so that I can say refrigerator or for you, any F word really, without setting them off. So I'm being very, very strict as far as what the release command is for her, because she's cueing off on the "f" sound.
No.
So we're just practicing over and over until she gets it right. This is a very simple. This is Well, this is simple, but also a little bit more advanced. There you can see she's starting to get it.
Free. Good girl.
There we go.
Good girl.
But this is very
Sorry, one more time.
much more nuanced. Usually people are having issues way less than this, than words that sound similar to the
Okay.
release command. But this is an example of an unwanted cue. Obviously, the dogs are more focused on that "f" sound than the free word. So I'm just changing what they are choosing as the cue and reacting to as the cue for the behavior
Super tough, baby.
of the release.
You're being so good. Don't worry. Stay. Well, that tests that theory. Free. You have to be looking at her and saying the "f" sound, but I'm not sure that has to do with you being able to hear me do the "f" sound or not. Stay. Focus. Alligator. Good girl. Stay. Well, you're not full alligator, but you know. Free. Good. Good, good, good. Target. Seriously? What'd you do to the... Did you just jump over the... Oh, it's too high up. You crawled under.